Welcome friends. Earlier we discussed about control charts for variables and also group control charts. So today we are going to discuss control chart for attributes. So in case of control chart for attributes, uh, first let me tell you the requirement of control chart for attributes. There are some quality characteristics that cannot be measured the way the variables are measured. In the same way, the control, those quality characteristics are or cannot be measured. Suppose, say for example, you just think about casting defect. uh, there are different types of casting defects, and if a product is defective, then it might have several different problems or defects. For example, blowholes, that is known as defect. So whether it exists or not, in this way we actually consider. So control chart for attributes are applicable for those cases where uh, you consider that whether it exists or not, okay, or whether it is go no go type or true or false type, whether it is defective or not, whether there are defects or not. So in this way dichotomous slit is seen or considered. So that's why control chart for attributes are required. And in some cases it may so happen that we can use control chart for variables, but those are actually not used for due to uh, you know uh, for economic and for time, to save time, because if you in actually in practice what happens, uh, there are different quality characteristics for a particular product. So for each and every quality characteristic, if you want to use control chart for variables, then for each quality characteristic you will have a particular control chart, X bar chart or an R chart. So that's why uh, to save time and to save economy as well, because uh, it is comparatively economical that if you uh, judge a particular quality characteristics whether it is acceptable or not, if you consider in this way, then obviously sometimes it is economical as well, okay, rather than going for very rigorous testing and all these things. So that's why control chart for attributes are required. So uh, attribute are the term attribute refers to those quality characteristics that conform to specifications or do not conform to specification. Okay. And attributes are used where measurements are not possible, where measurements can be made but are not made because of time, cost, or need. Just what I said. Okay. So there are four types of attribute control charts: P chart, NP chart, U chart, and C chart. Right. So you can see that P chart or proportionality charts, this P chart and also NP chart, they deal with the defective items, and U chart and C chart, they consider the defects. Okay. P chart and U chart are used when we have variable lot size. Okay. And NP chart and C chart are used when you will have constant lot size. That means for in case of all the lots, the elements, the number of the products in that particular lot, those are equal, then that is known as a constant lot. And if in all the lots your the size of the lots, they are not equal, then those are known as variable lot size. Okay. So one NP chart and C chart are for constant lot size, P chart and U chart for variable lot size. And P chart and NP chart, they are used for defectives, and U chart and C chart are used for defects. And you know already the difference between defectives and defects. I have already stated that an item is said to be defective item if it contains at least one defect. Okay. And defect so and defect means each characteristics that does not meet the specification, that is known as a defect. Okay. So you know already it. And here also you can see that P chart, that is the chart for fraction rejected or fraction defectives, NP chart, that is chart for number of defectives, C chart is a chart for non-conformities, and U chart that for non-conformities per unit. Okay. And for P chart and NP chart, we actually use binomial distribution, whereas for U chart and C chart, we use Poisson distribution. Okay. Why for P chart and NP chart we use binomial distribution? Because just have a look at the characteristics of a binomial distribution. Binomial distribution, it what the x-axis represents. The x-axis represents the number of success or sometimes the number of failure. Binomial distribution looks like this. Okay. Binomial distribution, you can see here that this is all about binomial distribution. Describes binomial distribution and Poisson distribution, both are used for discrete data, not for continuous data. And binomial distribution, if P is equal to probability of success, then Q becomes the probability of failure. Or alternatively, you can also say that if P is equal to probability of failure, then Q is equal to probability of success. So Q is given by Q is equal to 1 minus P. Okay. So here, what will be the mean? In case of binomial distribution, the mean is equal to NP and standard deviation is equal to root NPQ. Okay. So let's discuss first that binomial distribution. It looks like this. Binomial distribution. It looks like this. Okay. So along the y-axis, it is represented the number of successes, or it can be also the number of failures. And along y-axis is px, the probability of x that is being represented. Okay. So you can say that so suppose you are uh, suppose here you can see that along x-axis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what one will represent? One will represent that one defective out of some samples, for example 20 samples, or 2 out of 20 samples, 2 defectives out of 20 samples. Okay. So that's why binomial distribution is very suitable for, in this way you can represent. So you have got some number of samples, and out of those samples you are considering that some of the samples they are defective. So that is just like the binomial distribution, because in case of binomial distribution, suppose you have been given 10 answers or 10 questions, and out of 10 questions some answers are correct. Suppose you have given 10 questions, out of 10 questions some questions are incorrect, some answers are incorrect. So in this way you can consider. So that's why we can say that it is so it is just like this. So that's why binomial distribution is used for this case, for P chart and NP chart, because you are considering the defective items. But in case of the Poisson but in case of sorry, this is not coming actually picture. So yes, now I can share it. But in case of Poisson distribution, that is not, it is not that kind of thing. Why? Because when you are considering the defective items, you are taking suppose 5 samples, or suppose you are taking 10 samples. So out of 10 samples you can consider that how many defectives are there and how many non-defectives are there. So that's why you can easily consider the binomial distribution. But when you are considering Poisson in case of defects, you can only consider the number of defects. but you cannot consider, or you don't know how many non-defects are there. That is not possible. Suppose uh, in a mobile screen, you are you are considering how many scratches are there, but you cannot estimate that how many scratches are not there. You can only, if you consider a city, you can only consider that how many accidents have taken place, but you cannot consider, you cannot take the data of how many accidents have not occurred. So that's why in case of Poisson distribution is used for the for C chart and U chart, because they are used for defects. When, if we see the Poisson distribution, I'm showing you the Poisson distribution. Yes, this is the Poisson distribution. So in case of this Poisson distribution, you can see that what the x-axis is representing, x-axis represents number of rare events per sample. Here usually the sample size is very large, and out of a lot of samples you consider that the number of your rare events. So what is represented by 1 or what is represented by 1 or 2? So that is like this. Suppose if you consider the defects, then one defect means one rare event, that is per, suppose 100 inspected samples, or 2 defects per 100 inspected samples. So that's why in this case the Poisson distribution is more preferable. Okay, and we will discuss later on what are the parameters and what it represents. So this is actually the easiest way to remember that when to use binomial distribution and when to use Poisson distribution. In case of binomial distribution, we will use when each trial will have two outcomes, could have two outcomes. But in case of, when the case will be same, but there is no, in each trial there will be two outcomes, this is not possible. This type of scenario is not possible. Then we can go for Poisson distribution. And also in case of Poisson distribution, uh, there is there needs to be a constant rate per mean of an event occurring over a period of time. Okay, so now let's discuss about all these charts. Okay, now let us discuss about P chart or proportionality chart. In all the cases we will see that there is a line in all these charts. There is a line of mean, and there are two lines. One is for upper control limit and another is for lower control limit. And in all the cases, the upper control limit and the lower control limit is are chosen within 3 sigma level or 3 standard deviation level, because uh, 3 standard within 3, it has been seen in practice that 3 sigma level, first of all, most of the data, they fall under the limit of plus minus 3 sigma. Even more than 99% data, they come under the plus minus 3 sigma limit. And another thing is that it is not hard and fast. There is no such hard and fast rule that the limit should be plus minus 3 sigma. Even in question, it can so happen that in your question it is given that you use their control limit as plus minus 2.5 sigma. It can happen, but or even it can happen that you use the limit of 3.5 sigma. But in general, usually the 3 sigma limits are used because in case of 3 sigma, if you use, in practice, it is seen that 3 sigma limit, uh, actually there are, when the defects occur, even in case of defective items, because defective items will uh, obviously consist at least one number of defects. So it is seen that uh, in majority of the cases, uh, the uh, there are actually uh, two causes of variation. One is natural variation, and another is variation due to assignable causes. Okay, so within plus minus 3 sigma level, the cause of variation, that is natural, that is just natural process variation. There is no assignable causes behind it. But in some cases, if in majority of the cases, if it goes beyond plus minus 3 sigma limit, if your data lies beyond plus minus 3 sigma limit, it is seen that the variation is or uh, I mean, for which the data is beyond your control limit, that is, there are some assignable causes behind it. It is not natural process variation. Okay, so that's why uh, 3 sigma limit is usually preferred. But in if 3 sigma, in some cases, some typical cases, there may be 2.5 sigma, because control limit, if the item is very valuable, very precious, then sometimes 2.5 sigma, the limit control limit can also be used. Okay, and you will see that in these cases, when you will derive the formula for the center line will be the average, or it will represent the mean value, and will be 3 sigma limit. When there will be, then you will use the standard formula for the standard deviation. Now, the question is how these formulas are derived. So this is not required for our course, that how this formula derived, but just to give some idea about how this formula are actually coming. You should know that these are basically, this formula depends upon the distribution. Okay. For example, if you consider the what will be the formula for the, if you just take a look at this one, the P formula for the P chart. Okay, so then you can see that here the P chart follows, we know that P chart follows binomial distribution, because each trial of it has two outcomes, either success or failure. So if P is equal to probability of success, or you can say it is probability of failure, then actually it is probability of failure, because in this case we are considering the defectives. So it is equal to P dash by N. P dash is equal to average number of defectives, and N is the average number of samples. Q is equal to probability of failures is equal to Q dash by N. Q is average number of non-defectives. If P dash is equal to average number of defectives, then Q dash will be obviously the average number of non-defectives, and N is equal to average number of samples. Average number of samples and average number of non-defectives. So mean will be in the binomial distribution. The mean is given as N into P. Okay, so which will be N into P is equal to P dash by N. So we can put P dash by N, so it will become P dash or P bar, also can represent P bar. So mean will be P bar. P bar means average number of defectives. This will be your mean value. And what will be your standard deviation formula? That is known as root under NPQ. Okay, so N into P dash by N. P dash means average number of defectives divided by average number of samples, into Q dash by N. Q dash is equal to average number of non-defectives by N. So N is cancelling out, and P dash Q dash we know Q dash is equal to 1 minus P dash. So the formula will become P dash into 1 minus P dash divided by N root under. Okay. So if so, this is all these formula actually are based on the distribution. Okay. If you suppose, if you want to, if you are more interested to how these formulas are actually derived, then you can check out this video. Okay, this video, the binomial distribution mathematically deriving the mean and variance. This link is given, so you can check out this link. Okay, and now another important thing is yes. So how to determine the sample size? In case of P chart, the sample size should be fairly large. If fraction defective P is very small, fraction defective P is very small, or number of defectives P dash have a, which is or number P is very small. If fraction defective P is very small, or the average uh, number, average fraction defective P dash is very small, then sample size N should be large enough that there is a good chance of obtaining defective units in the sample. Otherwise, the occurrence of one defective would throw the chart out of control. Therefore, sample size should be such as to contain at least one defective. A rule of thumb followed in most industrial applications is that the sample size should not be less than 100. If the sample size is too large, an accuracy greater than necessary will be achieved at an excessive cost. If the sample size is too small, inadequate or unreliable information may result. However, there is also controversy among the researchers regarding the actual sample size. Okay, so uh, fraction defective. So this is a very important thing which we must keep in our mind, that when we are going to choose our sample size, that case we should choose our sample size in such a way so that in general the sample contains at least one defect, one defective item. Okay. Because if your sample size is very small, then there is a huge possibility that you will get no defective items at all. Even when in the population there are, in reality, you have a lot of defective items. So it can happen. And another thing is that if you choose a very large sample size, then obviously you will get the scope of having the defective items will be more. But in that case, you need to check out each and every samples. So automatically your cost of quality will go up. So that's why an optimum level of sample size should be chosen, and in general it should not be less than 100, or even some researchers have proposed that it should be uh, 90 to 100, but still it depends upon the particular product and uh, the category of the product, how uh, what is the scope of having the defects and being the defective items. So it depends upon the particular product, and it is decided by the practitioners accordingly. So have a look at this example. So you can see here that so this example, I think the idea will be clear with the example. And notice that here, following are the inspection results of magnets for 19 observations. And I have previously told you that in this case, this is actually the formula based on the particular distribution, and here be it defects or defectives, both are discrete uh, variables. So we follow discrete distribution like binomial distribution and Poisson distribution, and in this case obviously binomial distribution is preferred because each trial has two possible outcomes, defective or non-defective. So here there are 19 weeks, and you can see that the number of magnets inspected, and these are the number of defective magnets. So if you divide 724 divided by 48 or 776, 763 divided by 83, then you will get your fraction defectives. Okay. So what will be your average sample size? That is the total number of magnets inspected that is divided by the week number 19, so 742. This is your average number of samples, average your sample size, or average number of samples inspected in 1 week. So in a week, so that is your average sample size. So what is your average fraction defective? That is total defectives in all samples divided by total inspected in all samples, 1033 divided by 1401. Or you can also take the average of the fraction defectives to determine the average fraction defectives. Okay. Now You simply put the formula, the upper control limit and the lower control limit. Okay, so you will get these results. P bar, this value you know, P bar. Okay, what is the P bar? Here the P bar is, this is your, the P bar is average fraction defective. Okay, this is your P bar, and you put these values divided by N. N is equal to, is your 742 average sample size. So the upper control limit is determined and the lower control limit is also determined. So this is your average, this is your upper control limit, this is your lower control limit, and you are plotting your fraction defectives. That means this is your fraction defective, and you are getting your fraction, you are plotting just your fraction, you are plotting your fraction defectives, these fraction defectives you are plotting, and you can see here that your second and fourth reading, they are out, they are beyond your upper control limit, and the 19th fraction defective, it is beyond your lower control limit. Okay, so therefore the process does not exhibit statistical control. This is the conclusion that you can derive from it. So now there is another example that you can check it out. If you're in this example, this is the same sort of example, only the point is that if the lower limit is negative, if then you take the lower control value, you can take this limit as 0, because fraction defective can never be negative. Suppose you are, some items are there, if you find that there is no defective, then it will be 0, so it cannot be negative. Okay, so now I will discuss about NP chart. Okay, NP chart is also based on the binomial distribution, but I think it is I won't go through much details about that. I have given an example of NP chart as well, but NP chart is not very, there is not very advantage to use NP chart, because the NP chart, the problem is there. You can see here that NP chart, in case of P chart, you have the subgroup sizes. You can see that earlier problem, in case of NP chart, sorry, in case of P chart, your subgroup sizes are different. Okay, 724, 763, 748, those are different. Okay, but in case of NP chart, your subgroup size is same, because in the manufacturing process, the number of defectives found in the inspection of 15 lots of 400 items. That means all the 15 lots contain same 400 items. Okay, in all the cases, the items are equal. In each and every lot, 400 items are there. Okay. So that's why for constant subgroup size, they have used here they've used here NP chart. But simply speaking, you can also use the same thing of and in the formula for NP chart is that is also given. So you can use NP chart, and just like that you can plot your curves, but you can also use your P chart as well. You can solve this problem using P chart. There is no problem, because if there is the subgroup sizes 400 items are there, the fraction defective will be 2 divided by 400, just like that. And then you follow the steps of your the example of P chart, just like I said. So there is nothing to say a lot more about NP chart. Only the advantage is that this is this is readily available formulas are there. So you will be doing some little bit less calculation. That's it. So now C chart. Okay, C chart is applicable for constant subgroup size, and it is based on Poisson distribution. Okay, because we are considering not defective items, we are considering here the defects. Okay, so here the center line is given by C bar, the average number of defects. Upper control limit is C bar, average number of defects, plus 3 into root under C bar. Okay, so what is that root under C bar? It is actually standard deviation, and in case of Poisson distribution, the standard deviation is given by the root under mean. Okay, that means the variation in Poisson distribution is equal to mean. You can say that standard deviation is root under mean. Mean here is lambda or mu. Sometimes in some books it is written as mu. Okay, so in some books it is written as mu. So standard deviation is mu. So if you would like to know that why it is this why it is like this, then there is proof. Okay, so there is with the help of rigorous mathematics we can prove it, and alternatively we can also see it simply that suppose we know that in a binomial distribution it has two parameters n and p. Okay, there are two parameters n and p. Okay, because you will see that the likelihood function of the binomial distribution, that is given by n and p. You just have a look at the formula of the likelihood function of the binomial distribution. There is n is there, x is obviously there, x will be the independent variable, and p is also there. Q is nothing but 1 minus p. So n and x are the parameters, right? So n is your total number of observations, and x is your p is your probability of success. So now the thing is that you have seen that previously I said that mean is given by NP and variance is given by NPQ, or Q is equal to 1 minus P. That's why standard deviation is root under NPQ. And I have also said that if you would like to know the proof of the formula, you can check out the YouTube link. Okay, that I gave earlier, this link. You can check out this link for the proof of the formula. Okay, now if you consider here, usually in the Poisson distribution, the sample n is, that means the sample size, that is very large. N is very large. Okay, total number of observations n, that is large. So automatically, in case of, you can see that here in binomial distribution there are number of n n is equal to only 10. So obviously the the probability of all the success, okay, so probability of all the success, it will be for a particular value, it will be high. But now if instead of 10 there are, suppose if n is equal to hundreds, then obviously these graphs or the height of these bars, it will be less. Okay, it will be less because the probability for all these outcomes, that will be quite less because your n is very high. So if n is very high, then what will n is very high, and if your p is very small, then you can neglect p. Your p is almost zero. So if your p is almost zero, then it will become, the variance will become np. 1 minus 0 is equal to n. You can neglect the term. Okay, so it will become, if p is very small, then 1 minus p is close to n, close to 1, so that the variance is close to np. It means the mean. Okay, it means the mean. So this is actually, roughly speaking, we can say that, but actually if you want to get the uh, mathematical proof behind it, then one may make the consideration precise by limit theorem, but there is no need for it. But if you want to get the more precise uh, proof, then you can go for it. Okay, you can go for it. So this is the case for C chart, right? Now we will discuss about an example. We'll take a look at an example of C chart. So suppose here you can see that the following table gives the number of missing rivets noted at aircraft final inspection. So there are 25 uh, observations are there. 25 observations, 25 airplanes are there, and so you can, in all the cases, the subgroup size, that will be equal in this case. Okay, so it will be C bar. You can determine the C bar. All defects you add, then you divide it by capital N, or 25. Here the subgroup size is 1. Okay, because you are checking one aeroplane each time. So here the subgroup size is 1. So you divide it by 25, and then you determine the upper control limit and the lower control limit. Then you plot it, and you upper control limit and lower control limit, and then you plot your values of the defects, 8, 16, these values you plot, check whether some limits are beyond your control limit or not. Okay, so now we are using U chart. So U chart is also based on Poisson distribution, and it is for, if it is used when your control, I mean when your it will be not when your control subgroup size will not be equal, and the formula is like this. Okay, so let's take a look at the example. The idea will be clear. So this is the example. Okay, here you can see the subgroup, and then there will be subgroup size. Okay, you can see that subgroup sizes are different. It's not constant, just like C chart that earlier we described. And you can see that these are the number of defects. And you notice that the defects, the number of defects can be greater than your subgroup size. Why? Because one particular sample may contain more than one defects. In case of when you are considering the P chart or NP chart, the number of defective items you plot here, the number of defective items, so it cannot go beyond your subgroup size. Suppose you have taken 10 samples, so how can you find 11 defective items are there? Maximum you can have 10 defective items, not more than 10. But if you get 10 defective items, you can have 12 number of defects or 14 number of defects, because one particular item may contain more than one defects. Okay, so you just calculate the U bar, you calculate, you sum up your C values and N, and it is 1.2. Okay, and then you should calculate your the upper control limit and the lower control limit, and you should also so for U bar, it will be U bar everywhere. It will be the all for the subgroups. The U bar will be same, and this is U. It is just like your fraction defective that you have seen in your P chart, but here it is not defective, it is defects. Okay, but you cannot, technically speaking, you cannot say it as fraction defects, because it can be more than one. So it is actually a measure of non-conformities per unit, but not, it is not technically termed as uh, fraction defects. So because it can go beyond one. So you divide it, 120 divided by 110, 89 divided by 89 divided by 96. So in this way you can find out your U values. Because these values you need to actually plot in your graph. Now you should think about your UCL upper control limit and lower control limit. And every time you can see that your upper control limit for each subgroup, your upper control limit will be changed and your lower control limit will be changed. Okay, this is one very unique property of U chart, that your UCL and LCL will get changed. Why your UCL and LCL will get changed? Because your UCL and LCL will get changed because here you can see that have a look at this formula. So your N is actually changed. For each subgroup, your N value will be changed. So that's why your UCL upper control limit and lower control limit, those things will also get changed. So ultimately, as a result of that, for each particular subgroup, you need to find different upper control limit and lower control limit. And ultimately, the graph will be like this. You can see here that this is your central line, U bar, but your upper control line is, it is not a straight line, it's like this. Or your lower control limit, it is not straight line, it is like this. Why? Because each and every time, since your subgroup size varies, that's why the upper control limit and lower control limit is also, it is not like a straight line. Okay.